Yo, what's poppin', everybody? Yo, that was probably a little loud, but okay, cool. That's so weird. Okay. Yo, what's poppin', everybody? Welcome back. And today's video, we're gonna be talking about the pros and cons of what it's like staying in a tiny house. Since you guys knew we stayed in there. Do you guys hear this different sound quality? I don't know if it by you out, but it sounds pretty good. Trying out a new mic. I'm really excited about this. It's by Deity. So if you guys like the sound, let me know. Put that in the comments. Checking it out. I'm actually gonna make a video about it. Kind of like comparing a couple different mics. More specifically like Rode, because I know a lot of you guys, if not a lot of people, definitely heard of Rode microphones. And apparently this one's a little bit better and it's cheaper. So definitely gonna be making a video on that. But let me tell you guys about this tiny house thing. We loved being able to stay at that tiny house. It's a lot bigger than we expected, to be honest. So that was really cool. And like full-size kitchen, and you know, there's a shower there. There's a toilet, which I'm gonna go back and talk about that because there's a compostable toilet. So just remember that. But yeah, so it was a great experience to stay there, and it was something that we definitely are looking forward to doing again and experimenting more, you know, and that's why I wanted to make this video. A lot of people are probably very interested in wanting to get a tiny house or like looking into it. So I want to talk about my experience staying in a tiny house, the pros and cons, the things that I like, the things that could be updated, not necessarily that I didn't like. I'm more so say updated. Let's go with the pros, because of course you want to start with the good first. So some of the pros of staying in this tiny house was, one, getting to experience what it was like to live in a tiny area, and like to see if that was even doable, to see if that was comfortable, to see if it was something that, you know, we didn't feel claustrophobic or anything. And to be honest, we didn't feel any of that. It was a lot bigger than we expected it. And especially the way that people build tiny houses, like, you know, with the loft for the bed, so it's above everything. And then with like couches, like, cause there was a couch, there's actually a bed too. You know, that's what I love about tiny houses, that you can design it the way that you want. And that's another point that like is a pro, in my opinion, is the fact that you can design your own home in the way that you feel like it flows better for you. So that was another thing. Like, the design of the house was amazing, and it definitely felt super comfortable, super big. Another pro would definitely have been the fact that there's a full-size kitchen. There was a stove there. There was like a microwave. There was a fridge, a sink, pretty much everything you need to cook. But it was like super awesome. It literally felt like a tiny house on wheels. Well, I mean, that's what it is, actually. So, you know, in all honesty, like, diving deeper into that, another pro to tiny houses is that, like, you know, the minimalist life. You know, I feel like it teaches you to live a life with the things that you need. In all reality, like, we were sold by society to want all these things that we don't need. You know, they're just wants instead of needs. But I would say that, like, you know, it's nice to see that a lot of people are into this van life, into the tiny house life, because it's teaching you how to pretty much live life with the things that you need, nothing else. And in reality, the less things that we have, I feel like the less problems we'll have too. That's how I feel, at least. So, you know, a little food for your thought. That toilet, bro. That was probably the biggest con to the tiny house, was the fact that it was a compostable toilet. What does that mean? If you guys know what compost means, it pretty much breaks down and you can like put it in, it just turns into dirt. So it's like, you know, good for the environment. That being said, there's an actual toilet that you sit on, but then all of your excess stuff drops into a bucket that has like dirt and like wood chips and a whole bunch of other stuff that was in there, that you churn it so that way your shit pretty much mixes into this like mix of stuff that will then like make it compostable, and you can throw it into a compost. So that was like the biggest con of it, just because it's something that you got to get used to, of course, you know. At least for me, like, I was like, dude, this is a little weird. I'd rather go take a shit out in the woods, to be honest. Dig a hole and just shit in the woods. But I guess that's kind of the same thing, right? So that was like the biggest con. Another thing I would say about it was the fact that like the AC and the heating. So it was cold in North Carolina, which was where we booked our Airbnb tiny house. They have like a little like fireplace that is electronic, and so that heats up the whole tiny house. So one, the bed's at the top, so I think heat rises to the top. Is that what it is? I don't know what it is. But anyways, it got fucking hot as shit in the middle of the night. We decided to turn it off. And then once we turned it off in the fucking morning, it was cold as balls, man. So I was so like, did not want to get out of that bed. And then that's just because like, I think circulation in that tiny house, it might be different. Like it just wasn't like circulating around, or maybe we just fucking left the thing on for too long and it was just hot as balls. But that's pretty much it, honestly. There is way more pros to it, for me at least, than cons. I would definitely recommend anyone to rent a tiny house. Luckily, there's a whole bunch on Airbnb. What's cool about it too is that it gives you an experience, you know, it gives you a taste of what it would be like if you're interested into even like looking into tiny houses or like tree houses or whatever, any of that kind of stuff. All that van life, tiny house, container homes, all that stuff is so interesting to me, just because like it doesn't cost them as much money as like buying some of these homes. We honestly don't really need a lot of space nor a lot of things to be happy in life, but more so to be fulfilled. Because I feel like at the end of the day, it's more important to feel fulfilled than it is to be happy. Because in a way, happy is temporary, being fulfilled is eternal. You know, you're gonna always feel that. So keep that in mind, guys. Definitely go and rent out a tiny house if it's something super interesting to you guys, because it was a fucking shit ton of fun. And I would recommend it to anybody. Or rent out a van, you know, that's been makeshift into like a tiny home, and check that out and go, you know, on a weekend trip with some friends or yourself or your couple or whatever. It's a lot of fun, and I would recommend them to anyone. So that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got something out of this. If you have any questions, definitely leave a comment below. Whatever you thought about this video, leave a comment below. But that's it, guys. I mean, I'll see you guys on the next one.